Okay. Hope this video turns out great because I have Windows 8 now, so I'm recording it with their camera application, but that's irrelevant. I'm gonna give a brief explanation because this video may or may not be released. I'm supposed to be working on this video with one of my friends, Lyric and Mo, and maybe even Law Mathis. I forgot his YouTube channel. I don't know why my eyes look all pointy on here. Anyway, but yeah, that may or may not happen due to schedule conflictions or whatever. My friend Lyric suggested beforehand that I just do the video, just do the regular video, whatever like that. So it is what it is. But no shade to anybody if I do release the video. But because I kind of have to follow the passion and inspiration. If I don't, then the topic comes off as kind of meh. So the topic that I want to talk about is basically, I'm going to title this video Ciara, the Center of Shade. And the whole topic is basically like, if you're not the most popular person, then everybody wants to direct all of the shade and negative comments towards you. Like, I just feel like in the music industry, I'm not going to say R&B because most of these artists ain't really R&B, especially right now, like Rihanna and Beyonce, but it's kind of like a Rihanna and Beyonce world. And if you're not them, then it's just like everybody needs to be shaded. And it's just like, oh, the queen this, oh, the queen that. I heard some comments saying that Beyonce needs to take Ciara under her wings or under her wig, or she gonna snatch Ciara's wig and stuff like that. And it's just like, there was the days where you could argue about talent, about who is the greatest singer, about who is the greatest dancer, who is the greatest entertainer. And nowadays it's about who is farther on the charts. Kesha is really far on the charts, and I don't really consider Kesha to be that talented. I mean, she can write, and back in the day she was a good singer, but as of now it's just like, okay, all of the auto-tune and all of the basic songs and all of the manufacturedness that her record label is doing with her is just ridiculous. You have Katy Perry, who I don't think is talented at all, or is that talented. She can't really sing live. I mean, she has nice little dance poppy songs, but it's just like, okay, 9 times out of 10, her record label constructed that for her. It's like all these artists that are at the top of the charts, they're not really that talented. And it's just like, I am like in the era in my mind where people are talented, and I like them for that. And I like them because of who they are and their passion and stuff like that. And I just can never understand why people decided to shade Ciara so much and direct it towards somebody. Literally just about any person I meet, whether it's online, on Twitter, or on Tumblr or something like that, everybody wants to throw shade at Ciara, and I'm just like, I don't understand why. Like, I just don't get it. Like, whether she is not in her goodies days anymore, her evolution days where she was more popular, where is the shade coming from? Like, I don't understand. She puts out good music. She is not changing herself to be another one of the pop artists that's out today or whatever. She's actually completely talented. She's invested in her career and is not going to give up, which I feel like should make people like her more, for the fact that she's going through highs and lows of her career and she's still not going to give up and she's still going to keep going for it. Like, that to me is a real role model. That's like a person that you should really look up to, and that's a true artist. I mean, she's doing 16-hour dance rehearsals. She goes in for vocal training. She helps produce on some of her tracks. She writes out of her tracks and co-writes out of her tracks and stuff like that. I mean, she's just an amazingly talented individual, not even just as an artist. Just, if I was anybody in any field, as a doctor or as a runner or something like that, I would look up to Ciara because of her drive, passion, and motivation for what she does. And her creativity is just like outstanding. And I just don't understand why but people want to like throw shade at her. Like, is it because that she doesn't really give a shit? Is it because that she is a nice person and she's not really caught up in the bullshit that is the industry, that's, you know, trying to be in the media for all of random controversy, or taking her clothes off, or just any of that stuff? Like, is that why? Because I know a lot of times people dislike people and people shade people because they're different. It's just like if a person is gay or homosexual or whatever, and then people like to talk about them because they're different or whatever. And it's like, is it some kind of thing like that? Like, I just don't really understand it. And it's just like, I bring it up because I spoke to an individual yesterday, and this is somebody who I don't really know that much, and I mentioned something about Ciara, and it seemed as though he wanted to shade her. That's what I got from it. And it seemed like every time I meet somebody, whether it's a Twitter follower or a Facebook person. Like, I'm not saying like in person, but just like any kind of interaction with somebody. And I mentioned Ciara, it's like everybody wants to throw shade at her, and it's just like I never get like, why are you so pressed and hell bent on throwing shade at Ciara? Like, for what? Like, regardless, she's already sold 8 million albums worldwide in her career, and she's done over 17 million records, so, which, you know, includes singles and everything like that. So she's accomplished a lot in her career, and she's had like a hit on every album. Like, I mean, every album, even the ones that didn't sell well. I mean, we're still kind of waiting for a hit for um the One Woman Army era or whatever like that, but she has been doing extremely well in her career, considering, especially considering the fact, like, one thing I don't understand is that how do you throw shade at somebody when you know their situation? We know that Ciara has not had the best record label situation. We know that Jive has been shading her. We know that they haven't really given her the promotion that she needs. We know that they have literally fought against her. It's one thing to not have your label support. It's another thing to fight against you, because I was speaking about Ciara needing to be independent, and some people were saying, well, she tried that with Basic Instinct or whatever, and look what happened there. But at the same token, Basic Instinct era, they were fighting against her. Ciara wrote a Facebook letter and said how she had put like $100,000 to get radio ads for Gimme That, and she was being told that her record label did not want that song to be played. So it's one thing to not have the record label support. It's another thing to literally have them fight against you when you're trying to work towards a better vision. You're trying to work towards getting your product out there and stuff like that. So, you know, it's two completely different ballgames, and we do not know the kind of situation that it takes for you to get you to book performances. You probably don't. Sometimes I really don't think it necessarily has anything to do with sales or anything like that. I think it has a lot to do with who you know. And it's just like, let's say if you're a new artist or whatever, you have to get booked some way. People don't know of you or whatever. You have to release music. You have to start somewhere. So when you first come out and you don't have a hit and you're working towards getting a hit, how do you get booked stuff? You have to have that support. You have to have those connections and stuff like that. So we don't know how do you book these performances and stuff like that. And her record label's fighting against her. So how do we fault Ciara herself for Basic Instinct and Fantasy Ride? Like, I don't understand. And even if, like, who actually gives a shit? Like, I'm the kind of person that I like my artists because they're talented, because they can sing their ass off, or they can sing beautifully, which I think Ciara has a beautiful voice. And I feel like a lot of people don't give her credit for that voice. I made a comment about Ciara having beautiful ad-libs and harmonies and just all of her little vocal arrangements she does, and somebody decided to shade me and retweet it and was just like laughing out loud or some shit like that. And I'm just like, really? Like, you so fucking lame that I posted this tweet like a day ago, and then you gonna go search through Twitter to find something about Ciara that you did not agree with, and then retweet it and then laugh at it. Like, are you really that fucking lame? Like, are people really that fucking desperate and pathetic that they do kind of shit like that? Like, why the fuck do you care? Like, I'm not a big fan of Rihanna, and I don't go on her posts and I don't comment. Like, 9 times out of 10, if I say anything about Rihanna, is because Rihanna is basically the definition of what I feel like the industry should not be, or whatever. And that's pretty much it. Or the fact that my friend Lyric is like a big, huge Rihanna fan, stain or whatever like that. And so he'll mention stuff to me certain times about Rihanna, or sometimes, you know, I'll tell him certain stuff about Rihanna because he's a fan and maybe he would like to know. But other than that, I don't give a shit. I don't post on her stuff. So it's just like, why do people find the time out of their day to go in on people who they don't really give a fuck about? Like, I've seen this from like everybody. I've seen people from vocal experts to talk about shading Ciara or whatever on Facebook and stuff like that. And it's just like, why do you give a fuck? Like, I don't understand. Like, how can you shade Ciara when she does so well at what she does, as performing, as singing live? A lot of people don't even sing live. A lot of people use pre-recorded live vocals or pre-recorded studio quality vocals, or try to sing live and sound like shit. And like, for instance, Ciara's VH1 Divas performance, she performed live and she sang with her live vocals and she danced her butt off. And some people shaded her. And I didn't understand. Okay, Kelly Rowland, which is another one of my faves or whatever, her vocal performance was very subpar, very mediocre. And people were kind of shading her, but all the attention, some attention I saw went to Ciara. And it's like, out of all the people, Ciara was one of the best performances, if not the best performance of that whole. Now, I didn't even see Keisha Cole as being all that, because I think she was on there too, and people were just like going crazy over it. And I'm just like, okay. I mean, it's good that her vocal range has improved and she's got more stability in her vocals, but she didn't really give me all that I needed. So I'm just like, okay, but I can give credit where credit is due. She did do good. So it's just like, it doesn't really make any sense for people to shade Ciara as much as they do. It's just like, I mean, did she steal your man? I mean, did she curse your family with some kind of old Egyptian rituals or something like that. I mean, is she, I don't understand. Like, I don't, is it some kind of Blair Witch Project curse or something from what's that movie where like that like girl comes out the TV and something like that and she's like hunting her family? Like, I don't understand, like, what's the point? I just feel like people need to see, that's the issue nowadays. People are not focused on the music anymore. They're focused on the fuckery, the controversy, the taking off your clothes, the Twitter beefs, the tweets, you know, that shit like that. And they're not even focusing on the artist. And it's just like, I'm tired of people saying shit like, I want better music. I want good quality music. And then when artists release it, then it falls on deaf ears. Melanie Fiona, excuse my language, you know, I get gibberish every once now and then, put out the MF Life. And like, I think it sold like 30,000 copies or something like that, which it may have did better than her debut album, but still. And I didn't understand that. And it's just like, y'all wanted better quality music, but she put it out, and then now y'all want to sit there and act like y'all don't know that she put out the music. Like, what the fuck? And then people say, well, oh, nobody knew it was out and stuff like that. We're in the digital era. If songs go #1 on Billboard from iTunes, how in the fuck do you say that you didn't know that the music was out? And then people say they don't. Some people don't have computers or whatever like that. Well, you use Twitter from your smartphone. Like about 70% of people use Twitter for their smartphone. So you follow these celebrities on their social networks, and you're telling me that you don't know that they release music? Are you serious? Like, I just feel like there's no excuse for the bullshit, the fuckery. You know these artists put out the music, you just choose to not support them. I don't understand why. Like, forget who else likes them or who disagrees that you don't like the person. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, why is everybody worrying about what everybody else is thinking? Nobody cares. Support quality music. If people actually start supporting quality music and stop supporting fuckery, then the music industry wouldn't be going towards where it's going towards. I mean, they can only go so far with their agenda and their fuckery until we stop supporting them and start wanting more. When we want more, then we can change the industry to get more. But nobody's actually trying to do that. They're just like, oh, well, this person has like a little cute song on their album, I'm gonna buy it. Why? Why not just stream the song on Spotify? You know, why not download it for free? Like, why are you supporting these people that are the issue of why the industry is leaning towards where it's leaning towards? Like, I just don't understand. It just doesn't make any sense. And I don't understand why these talented artists get the most shade. I don't understand why Emery gets shade. I don't understand why Christina Aguilera gets shade. I don't understand why Ciara gets shade. I don't understand why a lot of these, Kelly Rowland, like, I don't understand they're talented. Like, why? Like, when I use the word flop, which I feel like is really played out, when I use flop, I use it for people that's not talented. To me, that's what a flop is. Somebody that just, like, if there was no fuckery going on, if there wasn't an agenda for how the industry wants people to be or whatever like that, they would not be succeeding. They could not be able to stand off on their own. If Ciara were to go into any venture in her life, she would be successful because she has the talent to back it up. She doesn't need 50,000 dancers. She doesn't need, you know, theatrics on the stage or whatever like that. She doesn't need, you know, people to come in to write stuff for her. If she wanted to write an album by herself, she can write it by herself and it would be epic. And she can produce it by herself and it would be epic. You know, Ciara is bad. Period. She's everything. So to me, a flop is the opposite of that. Somebody who record label does everything for them. They come in at the last minute to lay down studio vocals or whatever like that. They have all these stage lights and stuff like that. But when you take the stage lights and the background vocals and the background vocalist and the pre-recorded live vocals and stuff like that off of them or whatever, and they can't stand alone on that stage, that to me is a flop. So I just don't generally understand why does Ciara get like so much shade. Like, to me, it just really doesn't make that sense. Like, how do you shade somebody that's living their dreams? You're struggling in your life, and this person has got to this monumental point in their career, whether they're still at the peak of their career or not, they're still out there releasing music and stuff like that and doing what they love to do every day, waking up doing what they love to do or whatever, with nothing stopping them. And then you have the nerve and audacity to shade them. Like, how dare you? Even if you're not a fan of the person, I feel like respect their talent. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Beyonce. I'm not a fan of Beyonce at all. But I cannot sit up there and say that Beyonce is not an amazing vocalist because she is, or an amazing performer because she is. I just don't respect her as an artist or as a person. I just don't too much give a shit about her. But she's talented. I'm going to respect that. I don't need to shade her because besides some of the fuckery that she does or whatever, I respect Beyonce because of her talents, of who she is. It may not be what I like, but that's who she is. And I feel like you don't have to like Ciara. You don't have to like her music or whatever like that. But you should at least respect the fact that she's a badass performer, and that she's a force to be reckoned with if there wasn't so much fuckery going on in the industry. Like, she is, if there was for somebody to pass on, not their legacy, but for somebody to follow in their footsteps, she would be following the footsteps of like Janet Jackson and Michael Jackson. And I don't think that there can be any denying of that, because it's perfectly obvious. I mean, look at her VH1 Divas performance, her small tribute to Michael Jackson. Her moonwalk alone just shitted on everything. Like, it was amazing. It was so fluid. It was so beautiful. And it was just so, it was almost like Michael, for that second of time, just took over her spirit. And he just laced it for her. So I just really don't understand it, and I wish that people would start being individuals and stop being followers and stop being bandwagoners and whatever, and support something more for yourself. Like, ask for more, you know. Like, stop, like, if you're, everybody has been through bad moments in their lives or whatever, and I don't understand how can you go through bad moments in your life and then have the nerve to try to kick somebody else when they're down. Like, how dare I try to shade somebody for having a down moment or point in their life or whatever, when I went through like various stages in my life that were shitty. Like, how dare you? Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, it's just like, walk in their shoes before you sit up there and decide to shade them. Or look at yourself in the mirror and look at your life and look at the shit that you've had in your life or whatever, and then try to judge somebody, which you can't, because I'm pretty sure everybody's had some fucked up moments in their life, whether they want to admit it or not. So I just really don't understand it. I really don't get it. But, you know, I just wanted to just make the point and just come and talk about it, because I just feel like it's highly ridiculous, all the shade that Ciara gets. I'm not sure when One Woman Army comes out, but for all the people that want more out of their music and out of the music industry, I would say to support Ciara and her One Woman Army movement. I would also say support Dawn Richard, because that's how she pronounced her name on The Breakfast Club. And her album comes out Tuesday, and it's called Golden Heart. Support that, and support great music. Anne Marie has an album coming out this year called Somatica Volume 1. And the Prelude, the EP, will probably be coming out this year too. She spoke about that. And I know Lotus is out, so you can still support that, by Christina Aguilera. I know Solange's album is going to be coming out this year, and Kelly Rowland's Year of the Woman. So support quality music. Like, just do that, and think before you speak. Like, think about all of this stuff that these artists have to go through behind the scenes before you sit there and you decide to shade them. You may not respect them. Well, you may not like them, but at least respect what they have to give in their careers and in the industry and all of the things that they've done over time, and just giving back and just being the people that they are and the artists that they are, and just support that, please. And that's pretty much it. So peace, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video.